Krishna.
Good. That work?
Yeah.
I agree. Thanks for coming to the program.
Thanks for having us over.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya
Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Vijana Vallabha
Jaya Gopi Jana
Vijana Vallabha
Gopi Jana
Vijana Vallabha Vijana Vallabha Nrshimhadeva ki jai, Nrshimhadeva ki jai, Nrshimhadeva ki jai. Glory to the Son of the Lord, Hare Krishna. So we're going to read together and discuss, starting with Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 8th chapter, and this is text 7. So the verse is there on the board, so please repeat after me.
That's it. Om Namo Bhagavate.
Yeah. Is any other books in purports?
We have a few books, but I think it's on the boards.
No, the purport. For
That's
somebody else to, anybody else can read the purport also. You have any other volume easily
We do.
available?
We do.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Jnanatam Sagam Chanchuramritam Jnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Shri Parada Vacha
Shri Prabhupada.
Na Kevalam Na Bhavatascha Vaiphalam Badinam Chaparesham Hare Vare Mistira Jagdamaye Madayo Yena Vasham Pranita Pradu Vacha
Sri Prabhupada.
Kevalam Me Bhavatascha Rajan Vaiphalam Badinam Chaparesham Hare Vare Mistira Jagdamaye Madayo Yena Vasham Pranita Right, others continue.
Yeah. Shri Parada Uvacha.
Shri Purada Uvacha.
Kevalam me bhavatas charajam.
Nakevalam me bhavatas charajan.
Survivalam balinam chaparisham.
Savaibalam balinam chaparesham.
Hare Hare Stira Jangamaye.
Revi sirajangamai.
Pramadayo Yena Vasham Pranitaha.
Ramadayo yena vasam pranitam. Iprada uvacha. Kevalam me bhavatas charajan. Savai balam balinam chaparesham. Hare Hare mi stirajangamaye. Madayo yena vasam pranitam.
Shri Prarad Uvacha
Shri Prabhupada Uvacha.
Kevalam me bhavatascha rajam
Kevalam me bhavatascha rajan.
Savai Valinam Chaparesham
Savai balam balinam chaparesham.
Hare Stira Jangamaye
Hare Hare mi stirajangamaye. Madayo yena vasam pranitam.
Shri Parada Uvacha
Shri Prada Uvacha.
Nakevalam me bhavatascha rajam
Kevalam me bhavatascha rajan.
Balinam Chapadesham
Savai balam balinam chaparesham.
Hare Hare Stira Jangamaya
Hare Hare mi stirajangamaye.
Pramadayo Sampanita
Madayo yena vasam pranita.
Others, anybody else?
Shri Pranada Uvacha
Shri Pranada Uvacha
Kevalam Negavatasharajam
Nakevalam Devavatashtiraja
Savaivalam Palinam Chaparesham
Savaivalam Malinam Chaparesham
Evaresmi Jangamaye
Hare Vareti Stirajangamaye
Avasham Pranita
Madhayone Navasham Pranita
Shri Parada Uvacha.
Shri Parada Uvacha
Maharaj replied, Na,
Na
not,
Na
Kevalam,
Kevalam
only,
Me
me, of me,
of me,
Bhavata,
Bhavata,
of yourself,
of yourself,
Cha,
Cha
and Rajan,
Rajan,
O great king,
O great king,
Sir,
Sa
Ye, Vai,
Vai
indeed,
indeed
Balam, strength,
strength
Balinam,
Balinam
of the strong,
of the strong
Cha,
Cha
and
and
Aparesham,
operation
of others,
of others
Pare,
Hare
exalted,
exalted
Avare, subordinate,
subordinate,
Ami,
Ami
those,
those
Jangama,
Sira Jangama
moving or non-moving,
moving or non-moving
living entities.
living entities
Yea, who?
Brahma
Adaya,
Adaya
beginning from Lord Brahma.
beginning from Lord Brahma
Yena,
Yena
by whom?
by whom
Vasham,
Asham
under control.
under control
Pranita, brought. Translation. Lord Maharaj said, My dear king, the source of my strength, of which you are asking, is also the source of yours. Indeed, the original source of all kinds of strength is one. He is not only your strength or mine, but the only strength for everyone. Without him, no one can get any strength. Whether moving or non-moving, superior or inferior, everyone, including Lord Brahma, is controlled by the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another book, New Disclosure Prabhu. So please repeat. Lord Maharaj said, My dear king, the source of my strength, of which you are asking, is also the source of yours. Indeed, the original source of all kinds of strength is one. He is not only your strength or mine, but the only strength for everyone. Without him, no one can get any strength. Whether moving or not moving, superior or inferior, everyone, including Lord Brahma, is controlled by the strength the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Word by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Purport. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 10:41, Yad yad bhutimat sattvam srimad ujitam eva va tat tad eva gachatam mam tejomsha sambhavam. Know that all beautiful, glorious, and mighty creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. This is confirmed by Prahlad Maharaj. If one sees extraordinary strength or power anywhere, it is derived from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To give an example, there are different grades of fire, but all of them derive heat and light from the sun. Similarly, all living entities, big or small, are dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One's only duty is to surrender, for one is the servant and cannot independently attain the position of master. One can attain the position of master only by the mercy of the master, not independently. Unless one understands this philosophy, he is still a Muda. In other words, he is not very intelligent. The Mudas, the asses, do not have this intelligence, cannot surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like to read the rest of the purport?
I'm sure if I can see it.
Oh,
No, yeah, I can see.
okay.
Understanding the subordinate position of the living entity takes millions of births. But when one is actually wise, he surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 7:19, Bhavinam janmanam ante, Yanavam prapadyante, Vasudeva sarvam iti, Samahatma Sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Prahlad Maharaj was a great soul, a Mahatma, and therefore he completely surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord. He was confident that Krishna would give him protection under all circumstances.
So again, text 7, translation. Prahlad Maharaj said, "My dear king, the source of my strength of which you're asking is also the source of yours. Indeed, the original source of all kinds of strength is one. He is not only your strength or mine, but the only strength for everyone. Without him, no one can get any strength. Whether moving or not moving, superior or inferior, everyone, including Lord Brahma, is controlled by the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Tasmai Shri Gurave Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare. So today is the appearance day of Lord Nrshimhadeva. We have understood by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, who has given us the Srimad Bhagavatam, so many aspects about our life, so many aspects about other people's lives, so much about this world, that actually we had no idea till a few short years ago. I can speak for myself that although I heard Bhagavad Gita, all the Gita, and I've read several translations of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada describes that there's more than 600 translations of the Bhagavad Gita. Now there may be more than 700, I don't know. But that's what he said. But he said, why is there a need for another Bhagavad Gita, and that he's given us, as we see here? Is because all the other Bhagavad Gitas that were there and are there, they are not really connected with the real teachings of Krishna. That disconnect is there. And I don't know how many of you have had that experience, but when I read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, it's like the connection was, I was plugged in, like you plug into those plug over there. I was plugged in. I could tell very quickly that this is the real messenger who's giving the teachings of Krishna as given in the Bhagavad Gita. There's just no doubt, no comparison. But I'd never heard of Srimad Bhagavatam. And most of the people in the world, and also in India, they don't know what Srimad Bhagavatam is. Now the ignorance is less, but at least when I was growing up in this body, didn't even know what Srimad Bhagavatam was. Ramayana, yes, Mahabharata, yes, Bhagavad Gita, yes, but not Srimad Bhagavatam. So it means that also I didn't know anything about Lord Nrsimhadeva, because Mahabharata, Ramayana, they don't give almost anything about Lord Nrsimhadeva, unless Prabhupada has given us now, when he's quoted those scriptures. So, and in India, as most of you know, Nrsimhadeva is hardly known in North India, in Central India, what to speak of the rest of the world, but in South India, yes. South India, Lord Nrsimhadeva is famous, he is well known, and we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He spent a lot of time traveling in South India. So he has many pastimes there with Lord Nrsimhadeva. But the description that we have received from Srimad Bhagavatam about Lord Nrsimhadeva are very unique, they're very special, and they're very they're a big secret. They're a big secret. How many of you, for example, heard about Lord Nrsimhadeva when you were growing up? Yes. What age did you first hear about Nrsimhadeva?
My parents are probably the same.
Right. So that made all the difference. So all the people that you're teaching, all the kids,
Yeah.
they all know now. So that is a good fortune. Good fortune. But it was not like that for us. So here we have a very interesting pastime, because the Lord, he appears, as we know, from Srimad Bhagavatam and from Srila Prabhupada.
So Michael, so even though you grew up in India,
Yeah,
you didn't have any awareness of
no.
Lord Nrsimhadeva?
No.
I mean, growing up in Northeast Philadelphia, I can understand that. So, okay, that's interesting for me to understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I wanted to share that with you. We understand from Srila Prabhupada, and especially now the children under the care of Mother Brinda Devi and her good husband, who have done an excellent service here, educating and are doing hundreds of children who are just growing up not only with Lord Nrsimhadeva, but actually in love with him. So here we are seeing an example of somebody who was not in love with Lord Nrsimhadeva. Although we know that the Lord can appear in any form. So here we're hearing about his form as half man, half lion. Not full lion. We were in class today, Prabhupada saying that he didn't come as full lion or full man. He came as half lion and half man. So what are his incarnations? And his incarnations, or the number of forms that the Lord has, are unlimited. Describe that they are countless. What is the further definition of countless? As countless as the number of waves on the surface of the ocean. So, anybody ever tried to count the number of waves in the ocean at any time? It's impossible. So the Lord is like that, and if once there's a little bit of purification then it's not hard to accept that the Lord has unlimited forms. Because he's unlimited. We have limited forms because, as we read in this verse in purport, that not only all strength comes from the Lord, from Krishna, Radharani is explaining, but also whatever strength we have is controlled by the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whatever strength we have, we get it from him, but because he controls it, he can just take it away anytime. And we've seen that happen. And we feel very equipped to deal with a certain kind of situation, or we feel empowered or powerful or very qualified, or feeling like we have some special talents, and then they're gone. Especially as the aging process goes on. Somebody was reading to me about the river. The river is destined to somehow or the other flow into the ocean. You can't stop it. You can't tell the river to turn back, don't go to the ocean. They're destined to go into the ocean. So similarly, we are destined to go through the process of aging and disease and death and then birth. We can't reverse that or stop that process. So the strength that we have now, it is going to dwindle. I can tell you from my experience. So Ocean Prabhu, you want to say something about it?
Right.
So since we're sharing together, would you like to tell us something about various experiences of strength that you've had in your life?
The losing of the strength?
The gaining and the losing.
Yeah, well, recently I've been afflicted with some heavy diseases. And so I have peripheral neuropathy. So in peripheral neuropathy, your nerves start to like act up in many different ways. And when they act up, you just lose your strength, you lose your first you lose your feeling in your limbs. And then as you're losing your feeling, your muscles are also affected by it. And when you're losing your muscle strength, then you're just getting weaker. So you're in your body, and if you chant Hare Krishna a little bit nicely, then you're realizing a little bit you're not your body, and you are a spirit soul. So you go to do things that you would do normally, but your body, it's like getting in a car, but the car just doesn't kick in for you. You used to get in your car, turn it over, and then just drive. Now the car just starts rattling as soon as you get in there and turn the keys on. So my body is kind of like that at this junction. And it's real frustrating because it's not what you used to be able to do. But you made a really nice point that if we see it's Krishna and we accept that it's Krishna, then Krishna says he's the ability in man. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that he's that ability. So sometimes Krishna also tests us to make us realize that we're not the doer. So if we can get to that test and realize we're not the doer, Krishna is actually the doer, and he helps us, then it's a process of surrender. So he's actually helping us surrender and come out of the bodily concept of life and come to the point where we realize we're not the doer, and our only option is to really surrender to Krishna. So that's what I'm seeing myself in this. It's a long process, but it's a gradual process. But it's real. It's really happening. So that's my story.
So both actually on all platforms, your physical body, you've experienced this, your mental condition of your mind, you've seen that change taking place. Your intelligence is also displaying its different capabilities.
Right.
And your spiritual strength also, you've seen that, go through different stages.
Right.
So thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah. So, and we wish you all the best in being strong in every way. As
That's why
Krishna,
I'm here, to get your associations.
as Krishna
Good
desires.
associations, the medicine.
So, and others will have their stories also. And we will see that happen, like, again, the children, because they are future, for many of us, there's not much time left. But the play that was put on just a few nights ago, close by here. In my case, Abhay's daughter, Sundari, I just think of her as a 2-year-old that used to run up to me and raise her hands and just say, pick me up, pick me up. And I used to pick her up and she would sit on my lap on the dining table. And then she would pick up something from the plate, some prasadam. And instead of eating it, she would just turn around and put it in my mouth. And that she would always do that. And then now I'm seeing her, she's a young lady. And I think she's graduating in 10 days or something and going off to school. So we're seeing another example of a baby with very little strength and very little capability and a lot of dependency. And in no time at all, they're in their kind of prime of youth or teen years. And then it's unfortunate, but life goes on very quickly. And pretty soon they're going to be facing the same situation that we're facing. So Prahlad is saying to Nrshimhadeva, to Hiranyakashipu, his father, who we read in the previous verses, just it's amazing how a father that is supposed to love their child is speaking like this kind of language. Ganpati says in verse 6, my son Prahlad. That's nice, my son Prahlad. What is he after that? You rascal. Right away he gets into that. You rascal, Chasam. You know that when I'm angry, all the planets of the 3 worlds tremble. So here's the negative personality or the demoniac personality starting to display himself, even in the words spoken to this young child, Prahlad. He says, along with their chief rulers, by whose power has a rascal like you become so impudent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you? So, and he says in the words before that, oh, most impudent, most unintelligent, he's telling his son, disruptor of the family. You're creating a big disturbance in my family. He's saying, Ranakashi, O lowest of mankind, you have violated my power to rule you. Same thing again. We see this in dictators or people who have that kind of mentality all over the world. You have violated my power to rule you. And therefore you are an obstinate fool. Again, a statement of the dictator. Today I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj. In other words, he says earlier that you have become the cause of your own death. You're inviting me to come and kill you. So this is how a father can speak to a child, son or daughter. This is how the consciousness can turn from being that of a very loving type of exchange to a very hateful kind of exchange. So this is called the contamination of the modes of material nature. This kind of behavior is not seen in our real family, in our real home. Where is that? That is Goloka Vrindavan. This is not our real home. This material world is not our real family. Although everybody exists on the platform of this bodily relationships. This is my mom, this is my dad, this is my father, this is my sister, this is my husband, my wife, my kids. We're all surrounded with those kinds of feelings. But as soon as we come into this material world, even Srila Prabhupada was saying that Lord Brahma, he's also a conditioned soul. He's a great soul, a conditioned soul, because he has something that in his heart that does not belong there in the condition of purity, total purity. He's got some contamination. So this contamination spoils that purity, that beauty of a real relationship, that beauty of love and friendship and all kinds of loving exchanges that we have in our real family, which is what Prabhupada calls going back home, back to Godhead. So we don't belong here. We don't belong here. It's like the prison house. So Srila Prabhupada says, Brahma, he's also a prisoner, and he is. I'm a prisoner, you're a prisoner, the kids are prisoners. We're all prisoners. And we shouldn't try very hard to make each other feel like this is a nice prison. No, just stay here. This is a nice prison. I'll help you move from this part of the prison to a better part of the prison, which is what goes on. We always want a better life for our friends and family. But what does that mean, a better life? Who is actually focused on the one goal of getting out of prison every minute of the day, every day of the week, every week of the month, every month of the year? Who's focused on that? I've got to get out. I've got to get out. Somehow or the other, I have to get out. And I have to leave all of this behind, all these relationships that show different stages of strength and weakness, and whether in the mind or the intelligence or the body, or even spiritually. It's as Prahlad Maharaj is showing us, in any condition, a real devotee can stay spiritually strong and become even stronger, which is what we see in the example of Prahlad. You mentioned tests, Loshan Prabhu. Prahlad Maharaj, how many tests was he put through? And what was the outcome of each one of those tests? He was completely unshaken, undisturbed, fearless. It is described here, just completely sober, just no disturbance at all. Thrown from the top of a mountain, thrown in a pit full of snakes, thrown in a cauldron full of boiling oil, put out there to be trampled by elephants, given poison by his mother. Was he fearful, doubtful, shaken up by anything? Not at all. Completely undisturbed. Even the demigods, they were disturbed. That's why after Hiranyakashipu is killed by Nrshimhadeva, then all the demigods, including Lord Brahma, even Lakshmi Devi, who's the eternal companion of the Lord, they were afraid to go to Nrshimhadeva because sitting on the throne, and he was so angry, and that he was just, everybody was completely in fear, and nobody wanted to go up to him to try and appease him. So finally they said to Prahlad Maharaj, you please go. And because Prahlad Maharaj was not only fearless and unshaken and undisturbed, but he was full of love for Vishnu, for Lord Nrsimhadev. And that love never got disturbed. In fact, it just increased. So then he goes up to Nrsimhadev, and we see this beautiful smiling response on Nrsimhadev's face. There he's completely melted by the love of his pure devotee, and it responds in a very loving way. So these loving exchanges that we want to experience ourselves, these can be experienced only in our exchanges with the Lord or his pure devotees with a very clean heart. Our heart has to be completely free from any other kinds of desires, any other kinds of issues. That just has to be, as we've heard many times, an ocean of love for Krishna and his pure devotees. So if we stick to a proper process, a bona fide process, this is a scientific process. And if you stick to this scientific process, the result is guaranteed. All the impurities will be washed away. Like all the dirt gets washed away when something is put under a proper cleansing agent, then all the dirt gets washed away. So we stick to the process that Srila Prabhupada has given us. All the dirt, all the obstacles, all the contaminations, they'll just get washed away. But if you don't, because that option is also there, like we're saying here in front of Parag March, there's all kinds of people with different situations. There's Hiranyakashipu, who's the other end of the spectrum from Prahlad Maharaj, full of hate, full of anger, wanting to kill his son, ready to kill him. He says, I'm going to slay you, I'm going to, take your head off. A father speaking like that to his son. And then after the whole pastime is over, when Nrshimhadeva is asking Prahlad Maharaj, what benediction would you like? So what does he request?
He wants to help his father. He wants his father to be delivered.
Yeah, he wants him to be forgiven. So this is the response again of a very pure person, that no matter how they've been dealt with, how they've been harmed, or how they've been let down, their response is like Jesus for his followers, forgive them, for they know not what they're doing. So Prabhupada is also showing us in his purpose, he's explaining about Prahlad Maharaj, and we see that in the example of all kinds of great devotees, not just Jesus. We see that in the example of Haridas Thakur, Vasudev Dutt, that they're always just wanting the best for others, not just moving from one part of the prison to the other, but the real welfare, the real benefit. That's their only desire, that everybody become free from obstacles, that everybody become free from any kinds of contamination, and that everybody uncover their pure love for God, pure love for each other, and get out of this prison and go back home, back to Godhead. So I think it'd be nice if others shared some of their understandings of Nrshimhadeva, Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu this pastime. How much time do we have?
This is what time is for, so we have as much of an abundance of time as we want to discuss Bhagavatam. We're not pressured.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
You mentioned, I'm paraphrasing, but you mentioned something about that we need to strive to get out of this material world. How do we reconcile, and we're all aware of our suffering here to different degrees, and we have the desire to get out, but how do we reconcile that with not using our devotional service as a business where I'm going to do devotional service because I want to get out of here. I want a payment. It's like a mercenary business transaction. How, do you understand the point I'm making?
I may ask for your help to
Clarify.
say more about what you're saying, but I'll start by just sharing that what you're saying is likely, in my experience, not uncommon. Because one can think that this is selfish, I want something for myself. And the highest platform is I don't care. I don't care where I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna do, wanna say, wherever you wanna send me, my Lord. I just wanna please you. If it pleases you that I go to the hellish planets and do something there for you, that's all I want. So Prabhupada does explain different degrees of pure love. So wanting to get out of this material world is not impure. It's not selfish in that sense, because you want to go back home, back to Godhead, and what are you going to do there when you get there? What are you going to do there? You're going to be engaged in pure devotional service. So it's not like you go back to Godhead because you get some selfish objective satisfied when you're at home. At home, you'll be situated in pure devotional loving service to the Lord. So therefore, it is all right to want to go back home, back to Godhead, because it's all right to want to be engaged in pure devotional service.
It's also simultaneous.
Yeah.
And as you're doing the devotional service here, it becomes so ecstatic that you're doing it here, but you also have the goal and the target of what goes on in Goloka. So if you have all that information about everything that's going on there, which is ecstatic beyond comparison, you can still do something here. So it's got, here people are dreaming, but the dream is just a daydream or a night dream, and it never really works itself out. It all just goes up in smoke. But the real dream, Krishna Loka, with the cows and the gopis and Krishna and Radharani and all the things that happen there, are so fantastic. But it's real. So it's simultaneously. You want to go there, and actually you need to go there. I mean, you have to feel that you want to go there. You want to have that strong determination to go there.
Yeah.
Like you have to go, but at the same time, you're doing something here because that's the way you go there. And then there becomes here. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that his house, when he was in his house, all of a sudden his house turned into Goloka. And he wasn't trying for that, but of course it's Bhaktivinoda Thakur as a householder. You know, he said he was a different kind of a householder, but still his house turned into Goloka. So that's, like you were saying, that's a good thing. So it's all good. And it's all good because Krishna is all good. He's absolute. So no matter whether you go to heaven or hell, the Lok is, you know, like Prabhupada said, he never left Vrindavan.
Yeah,
Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, never takes a step out of Vrindavan.
So
So Prabhupada said, I could be I'm sitting here in New York, I'm sitting in a big city, dirty, you know, grimy, loud city. But he was still, the Dham is in the heart. So he was still in the Dham, even though he was sitting in New York.
That's
But that's obviously the high stage.
pure devotee never leaves Goloka. So that means when we can get to that point of the purity, then as Prabhupada was saying, then we're situated in Goloka already. And then wherever we go in this material world, we always stay in that bubble of Goloka. Like this pure devotee Srila Prabhupada. You know, he was never in the material world. He never is in the material world. He's always in this capsule of Goloka. He's always situated in Goloka.
Impermanent.
Yeah, so like that. That is why going to hell, going to heaven, staying here in the middle planetary system, it's all the same to a pure devotee, because they're in this capsule of pure devotional service.
I'm appreciating the discussion and the context of what you shared, Salochana and Naveen Krsna Prabhu's of there's kind of like the purity, and there's even different levels of complete purity. And so, yeah, so like, okay, compared to just, I'm desiring that the goal is more money in the bank account so I can enjoy it. The goal is to get more respect, and just like basic material goal, more sense enjoyment. Okay, so then in comparison to that, then to a desire to get out of the material life, there's some realization there. Like there's some relatively impressive realization there. Like, yeah, I want to be freed from material desires. And not just Brahmagoti, but okay, to go to the Vaikuntha planets. All right, so there's realization there that Manushanam Saseshu Kastit Yatati Sede, that most human beings, especially in this yoga, aren't even close to. So there's something commendable about that. And then like higher stages, we see, like you mentioned, Srila Prabhupada, that's like Ihayasya Haradasya Karmanamana Sagir and Hills Bhakti Vastasu Jivan Mukta Sayuchite. So Rupa Goswami describes a devotee wanting only devotional service, not even wanting liberation, is liberated even in this body. So in one of his poems on the Jaladuta, Srila Prabhupada, maybe it's one of his offerings to Bhakti Siddhanta, Srila Prabhupada saying, I have no hope for liberation for crores and crores of births. He's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, I have no hope for liberation. All I want is your service. So of course he is liberated, but that's the mentality. Or Lord Shiva speaking to his consort Parvati, Narayana Prasarve Natu Kashtana Bibhuti, Sarga Pavaga Narikesh Yapito Yarta Darshina. Lord Shiva is just amazed. He's saying to Parvati, like, look at these devotees of Krishna, because she cursed Chitraketu, and she's cursed like be in hell, like hellish condition. He's like, oh, thank you, mother. Thank you. And so Lord Shiva says, they can be in heaven or hell, just like you said, Naveen. They can be in heaven or hell, and they just want to serve Krishna. These devotees are amazing. That's like Bilvamangala Thakur says, Muktir Svyam Mukulitanjali Sevatesman, that liberation is waiting at the doorstep like a maidservant for the devotee, because the devotee doesn't even care about liberation, and it's automatically there. I think that the song, the Guru Puja song, was it Chakudan Dilo Ye Janme Janme Prabhu Say, right? You fill our heart with transcendental knowledge. You fill our heart with transcendental knowledge. You are our Lord, birth after birth. So Narottam Das Thakur is in that mood, like of course I'm not gonna be liberated to the Vaikuntha planets or anything like that. Of course I'm gonna take birth again and again and again. That's fine, of course. Just let me serve my spiritual master. So that's like a higher level. At the same time, if I'm looking where I'm at, if I could actually come to the point where my only desire is liberation into Vaikuntha, that would be great progress compared to where I'm at with I want these really petty material desires. Of course, Lord Chaitanya, Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavitamba, Jagadisha Kame, Mama Janmane, Shri Bhavatad Bhaktir Hetuki Tvai. So he's saying, yeah, I don't want women or money or followers or fame. But he's also saying, I don't want to be like, he said, I just want to serve you birth after birth. So he's like Krishna showing how to be a devotee. So I appreciate the discussion. If you want to share, Sandhika, what's happening for you in relation to the responses to your question?
No, I appreciate the responses. The desire for mukti is genuine, is not always glorified, or we're not encouraged to desire mukti, to aspire for mukti, especially in the context of performing devotional service with the objective to obtain mukti. But I agree, appreciate the points you made. Yeah, very valid.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Sometimes
I mean, quite often Prabhupada did glorify that and did encourage that kind of desire. We talked about the verse, Nyambilashita Shunyam, that our desire should be thorough, but he said, oh, to have the desire, that's the only desire you should have. If you want to have desire, go back home, and he'd say that very often. So again, depending on where we're at, we are. It takes us to the next level, you know. So it's not an illicit desire whatsoever, it's a healthy desire, especially in our condition.
Thank you, Mother Madhava.
What else? Nobody else would like to?
So something, the missing ingredient though, before you can go back home back to God is to develop love, you know. That's a challenge right there, you know. Just to actually develop love, regardless of following rules and regulations and chanting and this and that, but you have to develop love, you know.
Yeah.
So it's such an intense desire. And that's also reflected in how you relate to other people around you, how you relate to your God brothers. And don't worry about the fact that you might have material desires, kama sarva kama va, moksha kama vidara teva and bhakti yojina. Yachitana Purusham Brahms. Krishna is very kind. He says, whether you're full of material desires, whether you're no material desires, whether you simply desire liberation, come to me, you know. And in time, Krishna will purify your heart and melt your heart, you know. And you'll be a transcendental being that will affect everyone around you. But that love has to come, it has to sprout, you know. You know.
Prabhupada also says about awakening. That love is there already. One time Prabhupada said, asked about his mission, he said, I've come to teach you what you have forgotten. So what does that mean? Forgotten, that means it's part of our very being that we have this loving relationship with Krishna, but we've forgotten it. So this process of bhakti yoga or Krishna consciousness is a scientific process. And that's what Prabhupada asks us to do. Just when you chant, you're chanting with what? Avoiding the 10 offenses. So, you know, we have to pay attention to that. And then we have the regular principles meant to be followed. 16 rounds for those who are taking initiation. Let's see, why 16 rounds? Prabhupada said anytime there's a spare minute, we're chanting or reading his books. So always hearing about Krishna, always chanting about Krishna. Prabhupada has given us so many thousands of hours of wonderful lectures and bhajans, and so some sound vibration always is there. So it's a process that gets rid of the dirt, is what you're saying. And that love then is not something that we have to go purchase, although it's described that if you want to purchase in the marketplace of Bhakti Yoga, you should be eager to go and purchase this chance to reawaken that love of God, you know. So then that's the only thing actually. What is the word? Doilam?
Greed is the
Greed,
price of the
yeah.
ticket.
The
We
grace-
need spiritual greed
Yeah. So
to really want it.
Intense desire.
intense desire, greed. So that what you said earlier, first question, it's and what others are saying, it's good to have that greediness, because you're greedy for the right thing, you know.
That's a type of murder. It's a good communication in that case. Because the motive to going back home, back to Godhead, and meeting with
Yeah.
the Lord,
And
is good.
Mm.
Now, when you are becoming perfection, then it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
Then you actually descend and bring what is already there. So
Mm.
you are from there, the pure devotee.
Yeah.
Perfect pure devotee. Is unaffected.
Right.
Yes, he doesn't want to go back home, but he's already,
never left for it.
and if we desire, Krishna can appear any moment. Because he controlled Krishna. I mean, you
Yeah, so many stories. It was like Sri Bhaktisiddhanta is the real Vishnu descended. Well, same thing about Srila Prabhupada descended, Krishna's. They have this beautiful painting. Where did we get that from? That
Mother wanted us.
she had it made.
She has.
Can you describe that?
She had.
Then louder, please.
And the world below was behind them.
Can you get a little louder so they can hear online?
Oh, I'm sorry. All the people of the world were at his feet, offering him
Yeah.
prayers and all. And she had that dream.
And all the demigods were there in the airplanes. Yeah.
On airplane flights. She didn't paint it because she didn't think she could do it, but so she had some. But yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
I'm just gonna say it's okay to pray for the desire,
Yeah, and also
constantly be praying,
To pray for the desire.
pray
Yeah.
for the desire, to have that desire.
Yeah.
To want to go.
Thanks for that.
Compensate first desire. And desire.
Yeah, but he also said if you don't have the desire, then have the desire to have the desire. Which is what you're saying.
And we can only start from where we are.
Yes.
It's not like, oh, I'll start pure devotional service when I'm ready. Like,
I have an interesting question for everyone here. The first time you saw a picture of Lord Nrshimhadeva, did it disturb anybody? Didn't disturb you, I'm just wondering if that. Because it's very unusual to see a form of the Lord ripping apart another human being. But it seems it seemed very natural to us.
Yeah.
To see that form of the Lord and be very content.
Then that's what they're experiencing at the academy, at the academy, all the kids. They just naturally have love for the Christian life. Somehow just.
Yes, it's, my son has a sweatshirt with the, graphic picture of it. And my other son, he has a new girlfriend and we brought her to the temple for the first time. And my older son was wearing this sweatshirt. And we were singing the Nrshimhadeva prayers and my friend was explaining to this, young lady about what it means. And she's like, oh, you mean the murder scene, like on the sweatshirt? And then I was looking at me for surprise, I'm like, oh, I can't think the murder scene, I didn't think of it like that. I have a different feeling about it, but somebody who's the first time looking at it, it looks so graphic, right? And
He has something very appealing about it, like, when I walked into the temple in Dublin, they had a Gordon tie on the altar, first time I walked into a temple. They had Gordon tie, they had the Panchatapa, they had a picture of Lord Jesus. And as I glanced to the altar, this is all beautiful, and I saw a picture of Lord Jesus. And then I went back to the other pictures, back to Lord Nrshimhadeva, and I'm like, what the? But it didn't freak me out, I thought, well, So I think we see later on, we see through the eye of the Shastra.
Yeah.
And we get to understand actually how the Lord is, have multiple forms and multiple pastimes, unlimited pastimes.
What to me, I think I remember that when we far back is the chanting of the Nrshimhadeva prayers that completely changed my conception of. So it's the sound vibration and the glorification of the Lord sung by his pure devotees. That just completely took away the impression of the picture itself. And same with, I think I sent you from South India, they were doing this Abhishek today.
Yeah,
A little bit.
Yeah.
And all the mantras they're chanting and doing this beautiful Abhishek.
very inspiring,
Yeah.
very inspiring, yeah.
It's the sound vibration coming from the lips of the pure devotees. Or the sound written by the pure devotees, that transforms everything. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. This is Damayanti. Thank you.
Damayanti, they're at Krishna's cottage in La Crosse, Florida.
Oh. Well, nice to have you here. Okay.
Thank you for the association. I just wanted to say something that always stood out in my mind with Lord Nrshimhadeva and is no, yes, with him being on the altar, is that Hiranyakashipu is on the altar. And this is like Prabhupada's altar, and we always and like Hiranyakashipu is eternally on the altar as well. I know we're not worshiping him, but it's just interesting to have that character there on Prabhupada's altar. And that's something I often think about. I just wanted to share that.
Thanks for noting that. Thanks for noting that.
But actually, he's jive.
What's that?
I put the look at jive.
Yeah, it's the giant bee dive. There's a whole backstory there. There's a whole backstory.
So as far as the murder scene of the Hiranyakashipu, and we can say, and about this other issue, that yes, it looks like it, but we can explain. So then we speak about the personalities of Hiranyakashipu.
And it's good over evil kind of thing too, which people can relate to, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, protection of a 5-year-old child.
Yeah, I've encountered many people over the years here that they're intrigued or sometimes shocked by the Nrshimhadeva Hiranyakashipu scene. And then, you know, if they want to get in, it, of course, sometimes just with purification through kirtan and prasad, you open up to spiritual form. But it can open up doors about how, yeah, like everything in this world, this is the shadow. And the real thing exists in its pure blissful form, whether it's romance or adventure or flutes or music or personality or even fighting that has its pure form and like there's all sorts of just dark brutal malicious forms of fighting, but we see like even like we like sports. We like this competition, we like that. So, okay. So how can something exist in us that doesn't exist in the Supreme? And this is the shadow here. Again, whether it's romance or parenthood or whatever. So sometimes people are shocked, and then it's opened up doors to alternate paradigms in a philosophical, spiritual sense. Hare Krishna.
Yes, as originally manifested and not pervertedly copied.
I found using using the word dim reflection.
Dim reflection, yeah.
Reflection has also been very helpful for me to understand how this whole material world, all the relationships, everything that happens here, it's all a dim reflection of the real situation, of our real home. So, you know, do you want to live? And so if you're standing by a lake and you see in the lake is still, and you see the reflection in the lake, do you want to make that reflection your home, or you want to be outside the lake and be in your real home? Nobody wants to make the reflection their home. Everyone wants to be in their real home. So like that, everybody, you know, we all want to be in our real home. We know we belong over there, but as Prabhupada said, I've come to teach you what you have forgotten. So we've forgotten our families, we've forgotten our real homes. And we're spending all our time trying to figure out how to make it work in the reflection. And it doesn't work, you know. It doesn't work.
I was saying actually the other day that we actually are trying to make ourselves forget Krishna more by absorbing ourselves in the material world and all the relationships, the desires, fulfilling the desires. I mean, just look at, sometimes I think about, you know, okay, I'm going to talk to this person, but the layers of covering are so deep because of lifetimes of pursuing material world, pursuing things in the material world and our material desires. It's so like these people playing soccer over there, they're okay. Like they think that's part of life, they think they have to do it at this age and this and that. And then it goes on. So it's yeah. Because and Prabhupada points to the lack of direction of the leadership. The leaders are actually trying to help you forget also. Because why? Prabhupada said because they're demons actually. And demon doesn't mean you've got 10 heads necessarily and long teeth and such, but just their goal is wrong. Their heart is in the wrong place and they're envious of Krishna. They want that power, like you're saying.
But that's all of us.
Yeah. Yeah,
All of us
it's,
are in this-
yeah, it's just degrees.
We're all here because of that disease. Prabhupada used that word today in lecture, we're all in that disease condition.
We get to look at the Hiranyakashipu within.
I like to include myself in the category of that diseased person, rather than that group or those people. We're all in this prison house. We all came because of our illicit desires. So we're all here, and we should all help each other get out, Upanoga Prabhu talked about how to deal with leaders that they are concerned about. And Prabhupada said you educate them, teach them, preach to them. So we have an obligation. We may feel, oh, they're so far away from access to Srila Prabhupada or myself. But we should make an endeavor. We will help anybody and everybody, including the leaders. Because the leaders can have a powerful influence on affecting other people in nice ways.
I think that this morning in our discussion, we're looking at how like Hiranyakashipu, he's the archetypical successful materialist. Because his senses led him to need to control the entire universe. And I'll speak for myself. That's what I want. I want to control and enjoy the entire universe. And I think it's actually a good plan. The only problem is you don't all agree that I should control the entire universe. That's the only problem. So that's the material heart. That's material consciousness. We actually want to control and try to enjoy the entire universe without exception. The only difference is, our attempts are so puny. But Hiranyakashipu, he was impressively successful. He succeeded through his austerity. Even the demigods were bowing down. So that's why, it's joking, but there's truth in humor. The Hiranyakashipu within. To the extent that we retain material desires, meeting our self-worth, that's actually what we want, to control the entire universe. So he was successful. His senses led him to control the entire universe. And then, and then he was still not satisfied. And it was so frustrating for him because he controlled the entire universe except for one person. And that was his 5-year-old. How frustrating! Because his 5-year-old boy was a pure devotee and didn't need to kowtow, completely brave and secure. But that's it's like this is a real historical figure, and it represents us to whatever extent we're retaining desires for sense gratification, profit adoration, distinction. And
say that those are the 3 key words. You can give up desires for those 3 things.
Yeah.
Adoration, distinction, profit, which all includes trying to control others.
Yeah.
We can give up the desire to control others some way or the other, or profit from others, gain from others, or be adored by others, or be worshipped by others. That's it. Vaishnava is praying that please don't let me fall into that trap. Please don't let me fall into that trap. Let me become free from all this desire. Just like you quoted Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't want nothing. I just want freedom from all of that actually. Because not only I don't want these things, but I want complete freedom from having those desires ever enter my life. Let me just live. And that's a beautiful place to be. It's a complete freedom. Once you're free of the desires, it's a beautiful place to be.
Why change a good thing?
There's a writer named Tom Wolfe, no relation as far as I know. But I read a quote from him. He seems to be Vedic realized. Tom Wolfe, he wrote books like Bonfire of the Vanities and the good stuff or the great stuff. Anyhow, he wrote, you have achieved the pinnacle of success as soon as you've given up any desire for money, popularity, or compliments. Just different words, profit, adoration, distinction. So somehow or other, but he said that's the pinnacle of success, when you have no desire for money, popularity, or compliments. And this, for me, this discussion, it gets to the essence of personalism. Because, okay, well, if I give that up, what do I replace it with? Nothing. That's not going to work, because our nature is to desire. Our nature is to be active and to desire. And so just like here with the Nrshimhadeva Hiranyakashipu pastime. Yeah, so in the supreme pure, there's anger. And there's also affection and there's fear and there's all the emotion. I was just writing to someone today, someone in the community in a different place of North America, and he's just beginning to read Prabhupada's Gita, and he's seeing like this, because till now he's looked at different non-personal approaches, and he's not satisfied because what do we replace it with? And I quoted, it's the same analogy you quote. You borrowed it from Krishna, 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna is given the banyan tree with its branches down and its roots up. So just you said, so if we're trying to enjoy the mango fruit in the reflection, there's no fulfillment there. And I really love how in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he gives an analogy with geometry. And so he says, like, those who regard the non-personal as the ultimate realization, they've got it right. The material world, the reflected fruit, twigs, it's all illusion. There's no substance. But Prabhupada says, okay, that's true. And that's 180 degrees of the circle, but a circle has 380 degrees. And the other 180 degrees, there's a real banyan tree. There's a real banyan tree with substantial relationship, substantial form, substantial personality. So realizing the illusion of the ephemeral reflection, that's an impressive spiritual achievement. And same time, the soul's not going to be satisfied till we get, there's another 180 degrees there.
The thing is, you have to do it through the descending process also. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta points that out numerous times. That the whole thing is a descending process. It's not the ascending process.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That's what we're saying, that we all want to be the master. We all want to be in control. But until we come to a point of submission, just like it says in the Bhagavad Gita, that we actually have to submit. So, but it's who do we submit to? So if we actually submit to the right person, to the pure devotee, he's already there. So if we actually submit, and then we make honest inquiries in that way, and then we do seva in that way, then we can actually enter into what we're talking about. And all the personalism comes out automatically, because everything's contained within the holy name. The holy name has everything. Krishna's all form, all pastimes, everything is there, but it's a secret. And it's the greatest secret of all secrets, but it has to be opened by submission and by the descending process. So if we enter into the descending process and give up our own, like you're saying, our own quest for being the master, no matter where we are, who we are, and what we're doing. So we have to have the proper person and the proper process. And if we have the proper person and the proper process, and then we ourselves do it properly, like Prabhupada gave a prescription. He was actually a doctor that was giving us the prescription. And it's a very specific prescription. So if we follow the rules on the bottle, and we actually drink the medicine according to the instructions of the doctor, then that's when the personalism all comes up, because we're all shaded with all different kinds of misconceptions. So we can't do it ourselves. There's no way to do it ourselves. We have to submit. So we commit, if we want to submit, then we become, that's our only, like Prabhupada said, his only qualification was that he liked to hear. And he liked to hear from the right person. So he went to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and he sat down and he listened. And he said others would come and go and just kind of wander off, because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was talking about so many erudite, esoteric, over the top things that most people couldn't. And Prabhupada said a lot of times, although he said this, that he would understand or he wouldn't understand, but he wouldn't go away. So he said simply by sitting there and listening and hearing, so that was his only qualification. And he said Srila Bhaktisiddhanta marked him in that way. He said, oh, this boy likes to hear. I like that. I like him. He likes to hear. So by that hearing process, by that submissive oral reception, Prabhupada got the mercy of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. So that's really the only way we can get it. We can't get it ourselves. There's no way to do it on our own. And if we realize that, then we become very awake, and we awaken to the process. And if we awaken to the process, Prabhupada said that even in Nectar of Ocean, he said that the only real way to advance in Krishna consciousness is through sincerity. It's all based on sincerity, how sincere we are. So there's no material qualification. So if we become sincere means without cracks. Sincere, it actually comes from a Greek word, sincere. And they would have statues, and they would go into the marketplace and they would try to sell their statues. And if the statues had no cracks in them, then they would say, oh, they're sincere, they're without cracks. So sincere needs to be without cracks. So Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness, it can be understood by the simple of heart, but not by the crooked. So we have to give up a duplicitous or a crooked mentality and become sincere. And if we become sincere without cracks, then it opens up. Like you said, it all opens, it's all there. So, it's all there. But that's my problem, is that, I'm not sincere, you gotta become sincere. Yeah, and then it'll open up.
Knowing is
Yeah, no, you're right. First step is the theory. Yeah, theoretical. That's right.
also, but Prabhupada said that I see Ranga wrote those books for me.
Right. Yeah.
I have a comment here
Yeah.
online from Bhakteen Kelly. I think she's responding to your question, Krishna Bhakti Purdue, about when we first saw the Nrshimhadeva picture, and Bhakteen Kelly writes, yes, it was disturbing. Thank you, Bhakteen Kelly. Thanks for your personal sharing. I think maybe we'll go to the Kirtan and Prasad part of the program. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Lord Nrshimhadeva ki, Sri Prahlad Maharaj ki. Thank you. Bhai Raj Prabhu, would you like to lead your time?
Watch next generation.
But you say in Irish, man.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you, Prabhu.
Vishnu Kalaya, Krishna Kalaya, Srimate Bhakti
Krishna Krishna Buddha Vivate Bhakti
Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prestaya, Saraswati Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasavi Jaya Shri Krishna Jai Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasavi Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare
Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Prabhupada Divine Grace. The Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Sridas Thakur ki jai. Praise to all Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Guna Gun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navi Mayapur Dham ki jai. Gangi Munimai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Priyag Vardhan ki jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Parents say, Lord Nrshimhadeva ki jai. Singachanadasi ki jai. Lord Nrshimhadeva ki jai. Lakshmi Nrsimha ki jai. Sri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled. All glories to the assembled. All glories to the assembled. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Guru.
Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani, Pachani, Shunyavadi, Paspyatya, Dishitari.
Rukmini, would you like to lead Nrsimhadev mantras? Great harmonium works. Cool, it's cool.
Okay.